Welcome to the ITB 2012, welcome to Berlin. This is Roland Wildberg for 4hoteliers.com, and as last year, as usually, we start the round with Rotana Hotels, and with me there's Omer Kaddouri, Chief Operating Officer of Rotana. How was last year for Rotana?
Last year for Rotana, like it was for many hotel chains, it was a very different year, a very exciting year in many ways and very difficult and not so exciting in others. Of course, within our region there was a lot of turbulence, a lot of problems with the Arab Spring, with the revolutions in the countries that of course you know about. Egypt, for example, which is one of our main markets, from the very beginning of 2011 has had difficulties. We had the shark problems in December and January, then of course the revolution started, and then, until today the Egyptian market hasn't settled. The politics hasn't settled, the future hasn't yet settled, but we are feeling that things are going to get better in Egypt. I'm a believer in what goes up comes down, and yes, they're having difficult times now, but I think these are going to get better in the near future, and we're already seeing some improvements in our Egyptian business as of the past month or two, and we're fairly optimistic that things can get a little bit better between now and the end of the year. Syria, again, with what's happening in Syria, our hotels are very, very quiet at the moment, and you know, the whole of the Arab world is watching and waiting to see what's going to be happening in the region. But we have to remain optimistic, and as Rotana we have done well as a company. Some areas have done better than others, and the areas that have done well and have benefited from the Arab Spring and the revolutions, like the UAE, Abu Dhabi and Dubai in specific, some of these hotels have actually compensated for the losses in some of the other areas. So overall Rotana have done well, relatively speaking.
So economically it was a good year?
For us it was a good year financially, and we're watching and waiting to see what's going to be happening. But the year 2012 has also started in a positive way. So things are looking brighter. And
what about the next season? Is there more plans for expansion?
Yeah, we have another busy year, Roland. You know, I know I'm always boring you with all of these new openings, but things are definitely happening for us. We're opening 7 hotels this year, and in some new destinations, which is exciting. We're opening in Bahrain, for example, our first new hotel in Bahrain. Even though Bahrain has also had some difficulties over the past year, business is moving on and development is still happening.
Within the last months there was no news about Bahrain in European media. So the situation has come to a stable
I think so.
point.
It's stabilizing. We've just heard that the Formula One is coming back for sure. Our hotel is going to be opening at the summertime, and there are other hotels and other businesses succeeding in Bahrain. So we're very positive about Bahrain, and it's very exciting for us to open up in a new destination, which is so close to us. In Doha, again, very close to us, another hotel coming up in Doha towards the end of the year, a 5-star hotel. For the first time we're opening up in Jordan, Amman, Jordan, with a beautiful hotel, 400 keys. And Jordan for us is, you know, we're in Lebanon, we're in Syria. Being in Jordan completes more or less the Levant area, and very excited about that opening too. Plus we have 4 openings in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. So altogether, we're going to be opening up a portfolio of nearly $750 million worth of hotel assets. So we're very excited, we're very prepared, and from now until the end of the year we should be seeing 50 properties operating for Rotana.
Do I remember on the press release I watched the name Beirut, is that correct?
Beirut, we are in Beirut. We have been in Beirut now for quite a few years. We have 3 properties in Beirut. We have nothing else for Beirut at this stage.
Okay.
But we have the other 7 properties that I was telling you about. And after those 7 properties from 2013 and 14 and 15, we're looking at opening 6 to 7 hotels a year, building our portfolio and making it much, much stronger.
Well, I know. I think I tickle you each year with the question about expansion towards Europe or towards other continents. I know you're in Africa already, but what about Europe? Is that just
Roland,
in
I attended
your mind?
the IHIF Hotel Investment Conference at the Intercontinental the past 2 days, and I was looking to see, could there be possibly some opportunities for Rotana to move into Europe or other places where we're not. And I was fairly excited to meet some good people to discuss possible future plans. But Europe is not high on our agenda to move into at this stage. We have our region to focus on, and we're also looking very seriously at India. India, we have opened up an office in India in Delhi, and our plan is to open hotels in India over the next 10 years. So India is a big focus for us. Africa, we are in North Africa already, and I'm sure there will be future potential for us in the central part of Africa, in the east and the west. So really, the plan to move outside of our MENA region, the Middle East and North Africa, has been decided, and we are now preparing the strategy to move.
Let's put an eye on your target group. Who is the ordinary, or who in particular is traveling to Rotana, or is staying at Rotana?
I can't put my finger on any one person because we have so many different segments. We have the tourism market is very strong coming out of Germany and Russia, out of the UK. Business, corporate is a major segment for us, and you know, a demographic now of the United States. A lot of Americans are coming into the United Arab Emirates. We're seeing a lot more North Americans coming in. We have meeting business, we have MICE business, we have conference business coming into Dubai and Abu Dhabi. We really appeal to everybody. I mean, our hotels, the portfolio of hotels that we have are hotel apartments, 4- and 5-star non-alcoholic hotels, which fit very much Saudi Arabia, for example, where we're opening.
Focus on Arabians, yeah.
And then we have the 3-star brand that we have, our mid-tier, the Centro brand, and then we have our 4- and 5-star Rotana Centros and hotels. So really, all of our hotels appeal to every demographic. So, and that's how we developed our branding.
Can Centro be renamed or described as a budget hotel group?
It can be described as a budget hotel. It's a mid-level hotel. It's a hotel which appeals to not just the young executive who doesn't have $200 and $300 US or euros to spend, but only has 100 and 150. It's also for a customer who wants to be able to stay and relax and in a comfortable, stylish, smart environment. And we now have 5 Centros open, with another 12 in the pipeline to open over the next 3 years. It's our fastest growing brand.
Wow.
And the Centro brand is the brand that we feel very strongly will be the first global brand that we have for our company.
That might give us a hint that there's great growing demand in those categories.
The mid-tier, the budget hotels, there's a big demand all over the world. People are much more conscious today of how much they have to spend when they're traveling. And you know, we fit that need. And when our president and CEO, Mr. Salim Nazir, decided to design and start this about 5 years ago, he knew then that this would be the requirement of the future. And today, you know, the average is $100 US, where 4- and 5-star hotels are selling at an average of 200, 250. So we're fitting that niche, and the Centro fits it in a way which is a lot more stylish, a lot more cutting edge, a lot more smart than a lot of the competitors that there are out in the market today.
That gives maybe it can be compared to, for example, there's a lot of talks among Europe about Central Europe, among Germany about budget hotels, which are cheap and on the other hand stylish and to the current. They focus on young for example, city travelers.
City travelers, young executives, yeah.
Okay. Do you think there's a space below the Centro for another brand?
Oh, I definitely think so. I definitely think so. Roland. I mean, we feel that Centro is unique in its design and its concept. Of course, I'm going to say that because I'm a Rotana man, but it's something that people really need to see for themselves when they're comparing our Centro to a competitor. We have hotels in the Emirates where we have next door to us our competitors from the larger brands, and our rates are higher by 25 to 30% than our competitors, also in this 3-star bracket, because customers see that we have a niche. We're offering them a great rate but much better value. So we're very proud of our brand, and we can see it growing worldwide. I'd say watch this space for Centro by Rotana.
Okay, so how could we sketch the sub-brand to Centro? Then City Centro maybe? With an average room rate for 80 euros, for example?
If it was in Europe, I mean, that's probably what we'd be looking at, 80 to 100 euros. But, you know, and during peak times like now in Berlin, I'm sure it could sell for even more than that. But, you know, the idea is that people know that when you're staying in a 22 square meter, stylish, smart room, you know, you're going to get great value, great service, and you're only going to pay 100 euros. I mean, that's really what people are looking for. We can be in Berlin, we can be in Hamburg, we can be in Frankfurt, we can be in Munich, we can be everywhere. We can be by an airport, we can be on a main street, and the design of it and the build of it is very unique. So, as I said, we're very proud of Centro, and we know it's going to do well.
So hotel managers everywhere, be aware.
Absolutely, yes.
Rotana is
Apply
at the
now.
step.
Apply now for the Centro brand.
Oh, yes, you were describing before. Last year was challenging, especially in the Middle East area.
Yeah.
And how do you manage to keep your hotels a safe place during this area, during these times?
You mean financially?
No, I mean politically.
Well, I mean, every time in Egypt, for example, when we had the problems in Egypt, the tourists didn't go to Egypt, and then the hotels were not doing that well. You know, we had to make sure that we were assisting the hotels to with taking some of the staff from Egypt, for example, and transferring them to other hotels around the Middle East.
To take care of them.
To take care of them and to keep them employed. Because, you know, when a hotel becomes 10% and 12% occupancy, it's very difficult to be able to pay the salary. So what we did as a company, we got together to make sure that as much as we possibly could, we helped our colleagues in difficult situations. And the same thing is happening in Syria today. Most of the staff in our 2 properties are now working in other hotels around the Middle East. And that's one of the reasons why we're a strong company.
That's silent diplomacy, that's great.
It has to be that way, and we have to help these guys when they're in their hour of need. And as a company, that's the way we look at our staff and our colleagues. We're one family. And we're very strong in the Middle East, so we can help each other. I can take a member of staff from here and place him somewhere else. So in Sudan, in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, in Kuwait, in Doha. We have the possibility to help our colleagues, and that's what we did. And that's what creates a very strong loyalty and bond within our company.
Okay. So what do you expect from ITB 2012?
Roland, we want to focus a lot on Egypt again, like we did last year. Egypt is a host country this year, and we're even hosting some of the top travel agents and tour operators on our stand tomorrow. You know, we've come up with some very creative ways to try to get Egypt back on the map. I just heard yesterday that in Germany, you know, the Germans are traveling. Egypt is the 4th most popular destination outbound, which is great to hear. I mean, it used to be number 2, so it's making its way back. The Germans are still traveling. So, you know, we're optimistic about the future of Egypt, but we don't just wait for it to happen. We also have to create promotions. We also have to create ideas for people to come to Egypt. And that's what we're doing this year in ITB. As well as, of course, seeing all of our partners that are being very supportive to us in other areas that we have, especially the UAE. So it's a great opportunity to say hello to old friends, make new friends, say thank yous, and work hard to be creative and different. That's really it.
What occupancy rate do you target after the political situations have been, well, are seeming to calm down a little bit?
Specifically in
this
which
year?
country? In Egypt?
In general, for Rotana, can you
well, I mean, it's
evaluate this?
I can give you an average occupancy, but of course it varies. Dubai is reaching 85%, Abu Dhabi 75%, Egypt is reaching in some cases 45%. So overall, we're looking close to about 68 to 70% occupancy 2011, which, considering all of these things, I think we can be very happy with that.
Yes,
but
I think so.
You know, we like to be optimistic looking forward. You have to be optimistic. You cannot be. You've got to look forward in a positive way, and we're doing that. And ITB, I think, is going to help us for Rotana.
Thank you, Mr. Kaddouri. All the best to you and your future plans.
Thank you, Roland. Nice to see you again.
Bye bye.